What's going on, guys? Welcome to another live stream session with Phrankleen. If this is your first time, thank you for stopping by. My name is Phrankleen. I'm the brain behind this wonderful platform. It's a segment called Say It Like It Is, where we talk about eclectic topics that affect us pretty much within the Black community. Okay, let's see who's online. If you can hear me, you can see me, smash the like button, smash the very like button. Okay, let's get this show started. Let's see who is online. If you can hear me, you can see me, smash the like button, smash the like button. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Okay. If you can hear me, you can see me, smash the like button. If you're watching this as a playback, thank you for doing so. If you haven't, give consideration to smashing the subscribe button, select the bell button, and select the all option so you're notified when I'm online. Okay. Let's see who is online. Ahima Mensa, good evening. Luo Michael. Yes. So I've been pretty busy, man, the last few days. I've not been online. And yeah, what's going on, people? Let's get the show started. Hey. So this is an interesting one. Okay. And this is hopefully would inspire someone. I'm not going to take too long tonight. Ndolo was good evening. The Denike Ali, good evening, madam. How are you? So yeah, the internet connection is a lot better. So hopefully we wouldn't have any glitches. So I've been pretty busy, and the last few days I've not been online streaming. I've been busy with divinations and dealing with people's divination. If you're still waiting to hear from me, um, you're going to hear from me by the end of this week. I promise. Okay, I'm clearing the backlogs and all that stuff. So let me talk about it very quickly. Um, is running to about 3 months now since I started IFA divination service. I'm going to have a website up very soon. I'm working on that in the background. So God given, how are you? So basically, it's a service to the Black community. It's been amazing. It's been a lot of take up on the divination, and the whole thing started with a handful of people, and it just went bang. So I work with one priest. That's one thing you need to know, because people are impatient, and I understand people are. Franklin, where's my divination? I'm waiting for my Akosajai predestination checks, and there are also people that are paid for appeasement. And over the weekend, about 27, nearly 30 appeasement, which is known as A22 video files delivered. There's a lot of administrative stuff. And I want to put it out there, especially for those that are impatient and waiting and all that. Spirituality, man, is not something that can be rushed. And I know when I started, I did say, oh, within 2 weeks. And then the interest just grew, bang. And I work with one priest for the sole reason that the priest is honest. One she share, one be share. When they divine, they're not sugarcoating, they're not lying. When they carry out appeasements, when they carry out sacrifices, they're not trying to do it because of they're going to line their pockets. They get paid, but you are told the truth. Um, that's my priest. That's the person that I work with myself. So you can understand why. So you can see the details scrolling at the bottom of the screen if you're interested. Um, who is this one, man? Who is telling men to avoid single? Listen, I'm gonna block your behind, man. I have never said that. Okay, have a nice life. There is no grounds for trolling. I've never said that. All right, Bobby. So as I was saying, if you're interested in Akosa Jaye, known as predestination checks, basically, it's in the practice of Ifa. I'm a proud practitioner of Ifa myself and an initiate. In the practice of Ifa, Akosa Jaye is usually done for babies within the first 40 days. So get in touch with me. If you didn't do that, perhaps because you came from a religious background, your parents didn't do it and all that. But the benefit of predestination check is it gives you an insight into what a child was born to do. And also in adult life, you find out that plenty of people are without fulfillment, without direction. You may be in the diaspora or outside of the diaspora, and it helps you recalibrate. It helps you remap, redirect your path, possibly, and to be able to align with exactly what your universal data set is your destiny is designed to do, otherwise known as Uri. It's very important that you are in alignment with what the universe actually brought you in this dispensation to do. So yeah, it could be partnership, compatibility checks to do with relationship, any questions that you have about your life, children, anything. If I let it, if I sort of die, if I is able to uncover and answer your questions in its 100% true form. Okay, so yeah, that's it. If you're interested, my email address is scrolling at the bottom end of the screen. If you're waiting to hear back from me, like I said, I'm working with one priest. All right, I take full responsibility for the administrative side of things. I underestimated people's response at first, and then I got bombarded. So you'd appreciate that I'm doing my best. But if you got any questions, you're waiting on emails, I will respond to you. I've got about 200 emails in my inbox that I will be dealing with late tonight. As you reply, the emails more and more keep coming in. Okay. So, yeah, apologies if you're still waiting, but you will hear from me soon. Now, hi, Phrankleen. Can you please reply to my email, EBN Brennan? I will, I promise. If you're interested, just send me an email. Okay. Let's talk about today's show. Now, it's a very interesting topic. What's up, Isla? I saw Isla Jacobs. What's up, Isla? Western Goddess. Good morning, good evening, Shukbo. Good afternoon, wherever you are. Now, this is a very interesting topic. Very, very interesting one. Um, um, so you look at somebody. His name is Olugbenga Ifagbemi. And he's asking me, what makes me so confident in this Ifa? Ifagbemi is from the bloodline of family that's deeply rooted in the practice of Ifa. The reason I blocked you, I don't want people like you on my platform. Go home, go back to your roots, my brother. Go and find out who you are. When you find your true essence, come and have sensible conversations, okay? There is zero tolerance for trolls, man. Okay? Your name is Ifagbemi, and you're asking me what makes you feel so confident in Ifa. That's one of the funniest things I've seen on the internet today. But anyway, back to the show, man. Yeah, Ifagbemi. Come on, man. You are lost. That's a very powerful name, by the way, a powerful bloodline. Go back home and go and trace your roots. You're not bearing Ifagbemi just for fun. Isn't that hilarious? And then they want to come here and troll, and I'll just block your behind, man, because you're lost. You don't have an idea. Maybe you can change it to Jesu Gbemi. So, as I was saying, now there was a gentleman that watches my channel. His story is quite inspiring. So I'm going to talk about his journey. Very short story. This is not long. I'm going to talk about that very quickly. What's up, Kazim Ogundele? How you doing, my brother? I'm going to talk about that very quickly. And then I'm going to go into, talking about agriculture in Africa and what the plan is for the future and what we need to be aware of. The whole idea of this is to emancipate people, is to help you activate your thought process. You understand me? Good. Now, this brother is an Igbo brother. He's from Igbo land, and he's lived in Europe. He admittedly in the email said, Phrankleen, I traveled on a totally complex, wrong, platform. I traveled abroad with the wrong visa. I just had this blind drive in me, like plenty of people do. Said I was in Europe, been in the shadow of the system for so long, and reality faced him. It was very hard for him to survive. Well, he struggled. He was violated by people that took advantage of him, mostly monetarily. He had to depend on other people's identity to work. It was pretty rough. Now, I'm not going to say particular country. I'm trying to conceal his identity. And he said, things were really rough. He struggled. At some point, he had three jobs. He work in a car wash. He would work in like a care home, like a sort of not a full caregiver, like a sort of assistant. He worked as a kitchen porter over the weekend just to put money together, right? It was really, really rough. He could barely sleep. Now, the point I'm trying to establish is this brother said eventually, things got really rough, but he was able, through the help of people back home in Nigeria, he was able to open open a bank account, and it was remitting money into that bank account. So thankfully, he was able to stash meaningful amount of money over time whilst he was so anyway. Unfortunately, there was a fateful night where he was working as a kitchen porter in this particular restaurant, and a popular restaurant in the high street of a country in Europe. And he said he was stacking the washed pots and pans as they normally do. It was a very late shift, and he said through the back door of the restaurant, the immigration people, officials of that particular country came in. He said they were almost 19 in number, and himself and a few other African brothers that were working as potters in those kitchen were basically rounded up, and they started asking them questions. You get the drill, right? And unfortunately, they put him in the back of a van, and within the two shakes of a dog's tail, the whisks them away. He didn't see the rest of the team. They went to separate holding stations. They kept them for like roughly 2 weeks. He said, but unfortunately, he didn't have anybody to come forward to fight his corner in terms of legal representation. He was actually denied due process. They didn't give him any state-sponsored solicitor. Of course, they were treated like outcasts. The long and short was, after about a fortnight in a holding cell, he was deported back to Nigeria because they had gone to his home address. He said they rummaged through his room, they found his expired Nigerian passport. So the moment they were able to ascertain that he's really a Nigerian, they had him removed from the country. The same thing with three other guys, that they were all Nigerians, but they worked in that kitchen trying to survive. Now, as devastating as that was, it wasn't entirely bad for him, because he was able to fall back on something. He said his uncle, who's like his father's younger brother, the father's dead in Nigeria. He was able to reach the uncle. The uncle took him, and he moved into the BQ, the boys' quarter part of the uncle's house. The uncle was very supportive. Told him, he felt depressed and all that. He said he had a woman that he was dating. He didn't have any kids or anything in Europe. So the woman he was dating as well didn't have papers. So when that broke out, I think somebody told her over the phone, she had to run away from the room they were sharing. So she's still in Europe, but without papers, running from pillar to post and all that stuff. Now, this brother landed in Nigeria through the help of the uncle. And the uncle is someone who's been into agriculture. And he said years prior to his traveling, the uncle had spoken to him to give consideration to agriculture and all that stuff. But he didn't have any appreciation for it. He wanted to travel out. So, but he did. And then he came back. So he sat down with the uncle and said, okay, this is how much I've been able, this few millions. He said he had about 11.6 million naira. in his bank account, which is not, it's money, I must say. Some people might say, how much is 11 million, 11.6 million naira? Some people don't even have it. Even if you convert that to pounds or dollars or euros, some people here in the diaspora with their papers, with their true documentation, don't have that money in their savings. That's a fact. So I respect him for that. He was able to save that amount. So roughly 12 million naira. And the uncle basically introduced him to basically palm oil business. He started making palm oil, started learning the process and other food processing, things that he went into. And this brother told me, in fact, I asked him nicely if he could come on the channel to come and share ideas. But he said for now, he still wants to sort of, keep his head down. But he has promised me that in the not so distant future, he will come on the platform. That's fine. Um, he's doing very, very well with manufacturing and selling of palm oil. So even from the eastern part of Nigeria, from Igbo land, brings it to Lagos, Ibadan, across. And this guy, this is where I'm going to. This guy said, through the help of his uncle, before he traveled, he had a blatant disregard for agriculture and any of these things. So these uncle helped to activate this guy's thought process and handed him a gold mine. So he's extensively into the palm oil making business. And he said, Franklin, you wouldn't believe it. The demand is sky high. Did you hear what I said? He's already working in alignment with certain people now on how to start exporting palm oil to the diaspora and the UK, across the EU and the US, so he can start getting money in forex and stuff. And he's doing very well, just selling the palm oil across Nigeria. He's cashing out. They're making millions. He's doing very, very well. And excuse me, that's the brother story. That's his story pretty much. I wish him well. And he said, I've made so much money that I'm venturing into other parts of agriculture. I'm looking into livestock farming and all that stuff. Now, somebody said cash crops are king. It really before I carry on, let me just read some of those comments. A relative is investing in agriculture, hiring Western advisors to help them standardize and create a network of factories. I've always known this. That's the brother's story. Short and sweet like that. Okay. It's a bitter-sweet story. He was deported. For most, it could have been like the end of the road, especially if you have nothing to fall back upon. It could prove really, really difficult. But I'm glad that even in his suffering whilst he was in Europe, he was smart enough to have a bank account. He was stashing, and then he had a fantastic uncle who was able to help him get back on his feet. And today he's doing very, very well for himself. I wish him all the greatness in the universe. Now, here's the thing. I am going to read you a document now. Okay, please pay attention to this. Agriculture is the future. We have been lied to. A lot of people are misinformed. Africans are misinformed. We have been lied to for so long. Agriculture, Black folks, I say to you tonight, and I say it respectfully, even me, I'm in the pathway of diving and establishing myself in this field that I'm talking about. Okay, please wake up. Please stop being a gatekeeper for the West. Don't turn your backs on motherland Africa. Like I said before, like I've said severally on my platform, so that in years to come, we don't become tenants in our own motherland. I'll read you a document now, and I want you to please pay attention, okay? Actually, let me see if I can share my screen with this Word document so we can read it together. Right, 1 second. Let me see if I can share my screen. Um, I don't think you can. I don't think you can share the whole screen. Oh, sadly. Anyway, let me let me let me read the document. Just hear me. With increased worldwide awareness of food security and sustainable food production, agriculture is rapidly growing as one of the key industries on both a global and local level. In Africa, the sector employs over two-thirds of the continent's labor force. In Africa, the sector employs over two-thirds of the continent's labor force and accounts for between 30 to 40% of gross domestic product. The World Bank estimates that agriculture and agribusiness together will make up a $1 trillion presence in Africa's regional economy by 2020. I'll read that bit again. The World Bank estimates that agriculture and agribusiness together will make up a $1 trillion presence in Africa's regional economy by 2020. This is 2022, 8 years' time. There are a myriad of factors that are driving the projected growth in the agriculture sector in Africa, such as a rising middle class and domestic market, which means food demand is expected to exceed 400 billion US dollars by 2030. $400 billion, requiring major agribusiness investment in processing, logistics, market infrastructure, and retail networks. The fact that Africa has 45% of the global total of land, Africa has 45% of the global total of land suitable for agriculture, suitable for sustainable agriculture, and African farmers being far from the technological frontier, meaning there is significant potential for investment and growth. There is significant potential for investment and growth. These are all factors which continue to attract ever increasing levels of foreign investment in agribusiness and food production. Undoubtedly, however, challenges remain. Much of the continent's transport, technology, and financial services infrastructure is in need of development, and despite vast natural resources, power production is inefficient and unreliable, restricting the growth of reliable value chains. Now, listen again. Undoubtedly, however, challenges remain. Much of the continent's transport, technology, and financial services infrastructure is in need of development, and despite vast natural resources, power production is inefficient and unreliable, restricting and growth of reliable agricultural value chains. Now, I extracted this from a top organization's document here in England. for security reasons. I'm not going to, I had to copy the text into Word document. Okay, I hope you paid attention. Now, these organizations, backed by top level lawyers here in England, they put together this. This is an excerpt from their document. They're based here in the UK. Within the wider white network here in England, they are selling these narratives, they are selling these investment portals and opportunity to their own folks so that they can bring their money and buy into the lands and spaces in Africa. You get it? So for those of you that are already aware of like the Chinese and people buying lands, this is why I keep banging on about it. The worst thing we can do to ourselves as Africans is, because you are in the diaspora, whether you want to move back or not, that's not even the question now, to turn your back on the motherland and act as a gatekeeper, turn a blind eye to the motherland and lie to yourself that there is nothing to see in Africa. You see, there was something I'm going to pull up very quickly from that document again. Notice how they talked about the investment opportunities. And then at the bottom, they talked about the limitations around the continent's transport, technology, financial services, infrastructure is in need of development. And despite vast natural resources, power production is inefficient and unreliable, restricting the growth of reliable agricultural value chains. Now, to the unsuspecting members of the public, to those that really don't understand how the world works, you wouldn't catch that message. The same people that are behind, the same people that are behind the African setbacks are the ones also telling you about, there is lack of production, manufacturing, and all that. They are the chief orchestrators. It's crucial for them, for their own sustainability in terms of their agenda, to ensure that the crucial parts of Africa remain on its knees so that they can sweep in day after day, week after week, month after month, year in, year out, so that the ultimate long-term agenda is to take over the governance of Africa. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? They are the same people behind the subjugation of manufacturing and the oppressors and the oppressions and deprivation that you may know in the motherland. But you see the way, to the unsuspecting eyes or the unsuspecting mind, if you read that document, you would think the person who wrote that text was just reporting a mere observation, but that's in fact a lie. The agenda goes really deep into the depth of the earth, right? I'm going to go back to that document one more time. Thank you, Indolo. Thank you for the super chat. They talked about the opportunities. They said Africa employs over 2/3 of the continent's labor force and accounts for between 30 to 40% of gross domestic product. The World Bank estimates that agriculture and agribusiness together will make up 1 trillion, a 1 trillion US dollar presence in Africa's regional economy by 2030. And that's even aside Africa's natural resources. This is just agriculture. So it takes me back to the point that I keep banging on about. One of the worst things that can happen to us as Africans is if you ain't got no clue about how the world truly functions. That's why that's why when I'm talking about some things, if you don't get it, you probably think, why is this guy just ranting or shouting? I come from a place of passion because I can see the agenda. I can see where the world is going. I keep saying it. If we are not careful, there will come a time when Africans will become tenants in their own land. Look at South Africa as an example. South Africa has more black folks, has less white folks. The white folks run the country, they control the resources. The buying power of most of the Africans in South Africa has been subjugated. Economically, most of them are nothing to write home about. I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner, but it's the truth. The evidence is publicly available for you to verify if you didn't know. Do you understand? Let me read this very quickly before I crack on. I have long adopted the strategy of land banking, both farmlands and residential land. My man, the most secure investment, Washiri Kazim. Big up, my brother. I celebrate you, man. Carry on buying it. That's a very scary thought to become tenant in Africa. Absolutely. That's the long-term agenda. In fact, by the time they get to the end of the long-term agenda, we'll probably be old and will be gone. I'm telling you. Somebody said Africa is focused on borders. Meanwhile, the West understands the value of open borders for free movement of goods and persons. That's right, Ndolo. They created the problem and now coming to pretend to be the problem solver. Thank you, Isla. Similar to the FDA here in the States, create disease via food to sell your pharmaceuticals. Absolutely. They subjugate Africa. They installed the dubious leaders, the spineless charlatans across Africa. So then they show up. Ta-da! They show up. Ta-da! Oh, like it's, oh, we've come to fix it for you. No. So it's basically part of the mental conditioning is the illusion. And it's the same thing about living in the West, the illusion of inclusion. The Negro is fixated on the roads, the electricity. I'm not asking you not to enjoy the basic amenities. It's not free, is it? We've got electricity here. It's not free. The internet that I use, I pay for. Nothing is free. I work for it. Do you understand? There's an illusion of inclusion that a lot of black folks are trapped into, whereby, oh, you see the West as your bus stop. Oh, this is it for me. I've arrived. No, you haven't. When things start to unfold in future as intended, by that time it will be too late. It's already happening in Nigeria. Chinese are buying up lands right, left, and center. It's a shame. Absolutely. This is what I've been saying. And what's actually even much more infuriating is the very ignorant black folks that come on the platform here and they start to argue blindly. And I just look at them because they suffer from judgmental poverty. A lot of them are just retarded because they really don't know how the world works. The agenda is unfolding right under our nostrils, and you are defending the indefensible. Let me read this. China Village built in pink is in Okota, Lagos, right before our eyes. Nubian Queen, absolutely. You're not lying. I've seen it. I've seen it before. People think, oh, they built these fancy places or they built them just for fun. No, They are gaining grounds. And this is a major reason I am not a religion fanatic. It's a tactic to hold us down. Instead of focusing on strategies to liberate ourselves, we focus on prayers and sowing seeds. Look, man, there is something else that I need to read out. There is something else. There's something else. Let me read this one out. Um, I bookmarked this. I saw this on Instagram, and it's a very interesting one. It says Nigerians abroad send seven. Now, this is it'll be the U.S. government. They'll put together this data. Let me read this before I crack on. What's that? An international business economic platform should be created for our diasporas to enable investment ideas for our motherland. 1,000 people contributing £30 a month is 30K investment each month. That's right. Execution is another question entirely. When money is interested, when money is involved, forgive me, black folks. Let me read this. Nigerians abroad sent 7.9 trillion naira home in 2022, lead 9 African countries. You see, what pisses me off about all of these articles like this or data like this is, so you don't see, again, I talk about illusion of inclusion. So you don't see our people bragging. They create a bragging right to fool you. Again, it's an illusion. And when you hear Nigerians go, yeah, man, we top the university league in the US. Oh, Nigerians are the most educated in the US. Oh, we build at the we are at the top of the chart of universities in the US. We go blah 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 in the UK. You see, things like this. To me personally, I don't mean to be a snob. They infuriate me. They irritate me. They mean nothing to me because we are economically decapitated, crippled in these environments. The same people give you that data. Oh yeah, you are top in the charts of universities. What do we do with that? How does that improve the price of bread? How does that strengthen the black community? How? Oh yeah, we went to Ivy League University. Oh yeah, Nigerians are this. Boy, sit your backside down, man. Sit your ass down. How does that drive the black community forward? How? It's just nonsensical bragging rights that do nothing for us. Now, let me read this very quickly. Nigerians abroad have sent a total of $19.2 billion home in 2022 alone. World Bank said in 2022, it tells you they keep data on us, right? Every day, every minute. The World Bank said in 2022, the remittance view is moderately positive, according to Business Insider. The bank released its migration and development brief saying the growth is expected to continue at 7% to 55 billion. The growth, the World Bank said, is despite the general adverse economic environment globally. Remittances all over the world have always been a much needed help for low income countries like Nigeria, most of which are African countries. Because of the uncertainty that represents foreign direct investment FDI, the World Bank said diaspora remittances are paramount sources of international financing for developing countries like Nigeria. But they really don't want Nigeria developed. I'm coming. In 2022, one of the most important factors that will sustain the momentum concerning remittances to the African continent is the increase in the use of official means. Nigeria continued its dominance in diaspora remittances in the continent due to the fact that the country has a large number of its citizens abroad. Here are the top countries with the most diaspora inflows. Nigeria at 19.2 billion. You have Ghana at 4.5, Kenya, Senegal, Zimbabwe, Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, Mali, South Africa, and Togo. So, isn't it counterproductive, right? So, isn't it counterproductive, right? That the same people that say to you that, oh, Nigerians send X amount of billions home, they've sent X amount of billions home in 2022. The same people are working underground to stifle the process, to actually stifle the process of you taking money out of their system to your motherland. This is what I'm telling you about the illusion of inclusion. They prefer us to be in the system, to remain in the system, all that you've worked for, all that you've earned, to remain, to be flushed, to be recycled, to be spent into their system and improve their own GDP. When you take money out, they don't want it. They are embittered. It's a dictatorial outlook. That's why when you go to banks, when you're trying to transfer money, they are basically they're working, it's in progress to stifle. There will come a time when all of the black market means of moving money out will be blocked. They are working on it. You see, this is what I'm telling you, that to the unsuspecting eyes, if you don't know how the world works, you would think, oh, they are actually interested in the growth of Nigeria. Bollocks, that's a lie. No, they're not. They have all this data. They really don't want you. Oh, you're sending out about 50 billion. No, they prefer the 50 billion to remain in their system, or a sizable chunk of it. They can come up with legislation later. Oh, you can't send, you can only send a maximum of maybe $500 in a month. And even before that, they're going to ask you to provide this, provide that, provide this. If you don't answer, that's why the moment the society goes absolutely cashless, whoo, and everything is digital, within the two shakes of a duck, still within a couple of clicks of a button, they can shut your money down. They can freeze your assets. It will happen. It's coming. There will come a time when you can't go anywhere. Like we won't touch cash anymore. It will be gone. The simple-minded people, they think they think, oh yeah, it's easy. I just tap my card, I just tap my iPhone and just pay for stuff. That's all right. No, I've come to realize that this world is orchestrated in such a way that to control liberties, to bring out the dark agenda in the back end, they will fool you. They will fool you with inventions. They will fool you with things that you use that become your daily life, that run your daily life and activities. And in the front end, to the unsuspecting eyes, you think you are actually benefiting from an invention. No, no. You become a product in the process. They gather data on you and then they turn around and weaponize it against you. Just look at cryptocurrency. The premise of cryptocurrency is to break away from the norm, the conventional ways of saving money, moving money. I don't know if you know, cryptocurrency has already been infiltrated by the powers that be. At the peak of the pandemic, a lot of people jumped on it. A lot of people cashed out from it because what it means is it will provide financial freedom. It's counterproductive to the global agenda. So, what do you think? Suddenly, Bitcoin crashed, everything crashed. We are in recession. It's all man made, it's all artificial, it's all intentional. People lost billions, multi billions, assets, money, investments wiped out. That's right. Everything is suddenly you wake up Everything has become expensive. Food has become expensive. It's artificial. It's intentional. The wages remain the same. It's intentional. There was a Chinese company in Cameroon producing Gary. Of course, they've been doing that. They're all over Nigeria. You reminded me of my pain. I lost $12,000 in one day last week in crypto crash. There you go. I tried sending money to Nigeria. Western Union said no more. I only did it twice. Other than that, I normally use World Remit. So add Western Union. There you go. Of course, the agenda, if you like, you can make $1 million within the US system. The agenda is to get you, right? Get you to put all that you've worked for in their system. The idea, and again, in terms of the remittance, another thing I want to say is there's so many people back home, people remitting, a bulk of that money that people remit back home goes towards um, catering to domestic needs and bills and feeding families. I'm not saying don't feed families. Very small amount actually goes towards investment for a lot of the aspirants. Why? Because a lot of people acting God, you've got to feed people and put money in the hands of a bunch of adults that can't look after themselves. That's another vicious cycle that's affecting us. So you can see that the problem of Africans, especially African diasporans, is multifaceted. You don't get retirement, especially if you work in past without papers, of course. Uh, this is what I'm saying. Wherever you are, if you're watching this, please share this video. I don't know who you are. Don't be deceived, okay? I don't care if you have a giant house in the suburbs in America that you're paying mortgage on. You have to pay for nearly 30 years of your life. And fair enough, you have a nice job, whatever nice job means to you. If you're an African, you're watching me, please don't turn your back on Africa. Even if you don't want to go live there, that's your business. Don't turn your backs, man. You see people talking about communities. I've got caught myself from Nigeria. I've got nothing to do with the place. You think the US belongs to you? You wait for what's going to unfold in the future. There will come a time when people will be clamoring. It will get to a point when people start waking up, and then they will be clamoring to then rush to the motherland. They will put measures in place because you see, you don't get it. The Negro is the currency of the oppressors. The Negro is the currency of the oppressors, the currency of racism, a currency of dictatorship. That's the way they see us. They see us like head count. And then, talk about identity crisis. You think you've arrived because you're living in the UK, because you think the roads are better. And then you see your mother tongue, your local language, you see that as disgusting. You don't teach your children. We're suffering from identity crisis. You're trying so hard to get validation from people that are evidently tolerating you. The penetration of Africa is ongoing, live and direct, right before our eyes. But a lot of people can't see it. Take your little $1,000, your little £1,000, your little £5,000, buy lands, like Kazim said, land banking. Don't turn your backs on Africa. At least do it for your children. Do it for the generations to come. Those people, yeah, I haven't lived in other parts of Africa. Yeah, those Chinese, Lebanese, all these people, Asians, Indians, they're gaining grounds in Nigeria quietly, aggressively. They will go into neighborhoods, they will go into villages. They don't buy acres of land, they buy hectares and hectares. The land stand, the land start here. It's like they're buying towns. You can't see the end of it. It just goes miles into the distance. They're buying it and they get holding the paperwork watertight. I'm telling you, man, buy land and invest in cash crops. What's that? Our fight against the Western system as foundational Black Americans is unbelievable. Yeah, Kaku, buying a home doesn't limit you. It's best to have a goal and plan. Somebody said, "Good evening, Franklin. Check email, please." Abdul Malik. I will do. I will do. Tonight, after food, all those pending divination emails, I will bombard everybody tonight. Okay, I promise you. Yeah, not just Nigeria, all over Africa. I will tell you the simplistic goal of the average African. I live in the UK, I live in the US. You work hard. Let me get a mortgage. I'll pay for that for the next 25 years. Yeah, you know, a remortgage, I'll be able to cash out my retirement. I'll pass it on to the children. Yeah, Chinese buy lands to mine the hidden natural resources. Another thing is when somebody like me is talking, for the diasporans that have totally dissociated themselves from the motherland, that are disconnected, they don't appreciate it. They're blinded by the lives they live in the West. They're blinded. The mindset of a lot of our people, you think because you live in the UK, you've been here for 30 years, 27 years, it's a bragging right. You think you've arrived. Whilst you can make money from whatever property you've bought, as long as you're able to carry on paying your mortgage and stuff, but that shouldn't be our ultimate goal or achievement. You can buy property here, and they can wake up tomorrow morning and write legislation to a brand new sort of legislation to financially displace you or spike up the interest rate. Do something evil that will put a massive hole in your pocket. Everybody will talk for 1 week, 2 weeks, yap, yap, yap. You keep quiet, you conform. Buy lands, invest in the motherland. Don't let anybody lie to you. Some 50 something year old man who the last time he went to Nigeria was back in 2005. Can you imagine? He was telling me the other day, oh, somebody told me as soon as you come out of the airport in Nigeria, they will grab you from the back and cut your throat. Can you imagine that nonsense? And he was shouting, saying it with all conviction. I would never step foot in that country. Ah, yeah, man. You know, somebody told me that as soon as you come out of the airport, they will strip you naked, they will cut your neck. I'm like, yo, Nigeria has its failings, but come on, man. Where did you get these lies from? This nonsensical propaganda. And he had his bunch of friends. They're all in their 50s, mid 50s. They're all sat together having bottles of Guinness and trophy, and they've managed to convince themselves that yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Oh, they said as soon as a woman come out of the airport and they can see that she's from the UK, you know, they will run to her, they'll kidnap her, put her in a car, and drive off. I've told my children they should never step a foot in Nigeria, and he has 6 children in this country. It's heartbreaking. So, and I'm not sat here telling you that there are no governmental issues. That's not what I'm actually banging on about. And I was also telling someone one of the fundamental problems we have about the information that circulates around, particularly African diaspora, is, let's say a problem is this big, it gets wrapped around propaganda and it gets blown to this size. So, say for example, two people died yesterday, hypothetically speaking. By the time that story gets wrapped into exaggeration and propaganda, and then it gets thrown around, you're basically just going to hear that, oh, for the past 2 weeks, 200 people have been getting killed on a daily basis. So somebody who is already disconnected, both mentally, emotionally, in terms of latest news updates about the motherland, the country it came from, will buy into the nonsensical narrative and spread the lies, the propaganda to other people. This is another very common problem within our communities. People are sometimes you see in a barber shop or in a social gathering, and people just spout abject nonsense, blown out of proportion lies. I go to Nigeria very well. You know, if a fight broke off in a town that's nearby from here, they would tell you that 1,000 babies were killed this morning. There was somebody actually on Instagram the other day took pictures of some sort of massacre in a village, I think somewhere in Uganda, right? Posted it on Instagram. This person has thousands of followers. Imagine the number of eyeballs that would read this and reshare, right? And he wrote this lengthy text and said, these, look at it. This is why I don't go to Nigeria. These happen in broad daylight, blah, 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 blah. These people were just killed because they demanded that the government should fix their local electricity transformer. The whole village got killed. If you're sat here and you look at that, not until somebody came into the comment section, a gentleman who is a Ugandan, and said, that's absolute nonsense. He said, this happened in my country in 2015. This happened, this. And I was like, can you imagine? So I saved the screenshot of that image. I put it in Google search and it brought the articles. And you can see blatantly from the date and timestamp that, oh, this actually happened in Uganda, in a village in outskirts in Uganda. Do you see what I'm saying? This guy grabbed this, just rolled out a propaganda, just peddling lies. Another thing to know is within the world of social media and people with large following, there's also another agenda. Like as a Negro, you are bombarded from all fronts, all sides. There's something you need to be aware of. You see those people that peddle lies, bloggers, and all those people that put propaganda, they fan the lies and roll them out on a daily basis, all sorts of lies, just to basically, you know, s- destroy the thought process of the average person and all that. A lot of those people, they are part of the agenda to subjugate Africans, to destroy the minds of Africans, so that you look at the continent of Africa in disgust. You psychologically, and that's the strongest part of it, you dissociate yourself, you remove yourself from it. You see nothing good about Africa. You see the West as the savior. Whilst you get trapped into that cycle, they keep going through the back door, pillaging, excavating our resources, taking over our lands, whilst we are desperately appointing ourselves as gatekeepers in the West and thinking that we've arrived to the land of the Savior. That's why I keep saying it. I've said it in the past. You can't lay a claim to any part of the West. You can't. It's one of the most ridiculous things you can ever do to yourself as a human being. Anyways, that's my story. Africa, agriculture is the future, it's the way forward. If you can, okay, look into investment, look into land banking, buy lands. Of course, investigate the lands, do your due diligence. Don't buy government acquisition lands. Don't buy from unscrupulous people. Investigate, invest, 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 invest. Give consideration to agriculture. Africa is the future. The future is now. Agriculture is the future. You can see the projection for the next 8 years. Before we blink our eyes, 8 years will come and go. That's all I'm saying. It's been an absolute pleasure. Once again, if you're interested in divination and divination service, my email address can be found in the description of this video. If you're watching on YouTube, it's scrolling at the bottom end of the screen. Get in touch with me. Compatibility checks. Any questions? I'm a proud practitioner of Ifa. I'm an Ifa initiate. African spirituality predates religion of the invaders. Ifa provides clarity. Ifa basically answers anything you want to go into in a business. You want to know, you're planning your relocation, you're looking to settle with a woman or a man, you want to know if you're spiritually compatible, you're not sure what you are called into this life to do. Akosajai, predestination checks, whatever you need in that regard, get in touch with me. My email address is in the description below. Thank you very much for your eyeballs and eardrums, and I will be back tomorrow, back to back content this week. I've been quiet for a few days, and again, for the last time, if you're waiting to hear from me, please, regarding divination, please bear with me. Pending emails, I will respond to them. I'm bombarded. You're not being ignored. I can't ignore you. And for those Africans, those of you, it's really sad, I have to say this, that come to get divination and you try to defraud me. You're not defrauding me, okay? If I would deal with you, there is consequences for these actions. I've had some people, they will come and they will try to use fraud, fraudulent ways, try to charge their money backs and take the divination and run. You can run momentarily, but I'll just put you before the universe. You follow my, that's it, yeah, for me. You understand me? It's sad, it's heartbreaking, but some humans are like that. Okay, thank you very much. Somebody said, don't just go into agriculture, learn about it well before. Of course, come on, man, come on. Get knowledge before you go into agriculture. The same thing applies in all facets of life, of course. It's been a pleasure. I'll definitely be back here tomorrow for another interesting session. All right. If you have any stories for me, please. If there's any trending topics, articles, anything that you want me to talk about, if it's to do with you, I'll make you anonymous. And the idea is so we can learn, we keep sharing, and we keep blessing ourselves. Smash the like button. Please share my content. If you haven't followed me on Instagram at Phrankleen, it's spelled the same way as it's spelled on YouTube. Thank you once again. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace and love, man.